One of these very surprising phone calls when you expect the laundry, the local bank, the local car mechanic, and then it's Carl Friedrich Bucherer. This really was a surprise. On this channel I feature all brands, from very affordable pieces to high-end luxury watches, but I think my focus is more in the middle segment, and so it was really a surprise when I found not in the beginning a phone call but an email by Carl Friedrich Bucherer, and then we had a video call, and then we had some phone calls with a very kind press agent. Then of course I thought this is a great opportunity. I checked their website and was blown away by the pieces I found there. There you really can buy your 43mm tourbillon watch for several hundreds thousands of Swiss francs. So really high and very expensive watchmaking. And so I was a bit not intimidated, but I thought this is of course tempting to order such a watch for a collaboration, but I'd like to wear pieces. I said this before, I don't collect money. I collect watches I can enjoy, I can wear, and I love to share my excitement about these watches with you guys. And then I found there another segment of watches in the 7,000 league, and then I thought, wow, this would be great. Such a piece for the channel in form of a collaboration with Carl Friedrich Bucherer. And of course I shared my normal terms and conditions. I said basically I see myself as a collector, not an advertising man, as a collector, and so all content you see here is free press without so much interference by the manufacturer, and very important, without reviewing material in advance before it goes live, right? And this was, I think, was a bit something to swallow for her. But then, to my surprise, she said, all right, let's do it. And then I could pick a watch from Carl Friedrich Bucherer. But now allow me a little foray, because I can see your questions. Why do I refer always to Carl Friedrich Bucherer and not only Bucherer? Because Bucherer is the name we know from the famous jeweler. But in fact, Carl Friedrich Bucherer, the person Carl Friedrich Bucherer, founded the company back in 1888 under that name. And the entire operation is still owned by the Bucherer family, but CF Bucherer or Carl Friedrich Bucherer is the name for their own watches. But now back to their actual lineup. As said, the temptation was of course there to grab a tourbillon, but then I asked myself, could you wear a tourbillon for several hundred thousands of euros with fun and excitement and in a relaxed fashion? Answer is no. Creates security problem, of course. And so I picked one of their more affordable watches, around 7,000 euros, and this is the Manero Peripheral watch, because it, as said, it's in reach somewhat, and it features a very interesting technology I'd like to show you in detail, and this is the peripheral technology. And this is a certain way to wind a movement. Very interesting. Normally you have your automatic movement, right? You have the rotor mounted on a ball bearing on top. Rotor spins around and winds the movement. All good. Leads to relatively high movements because you need that component of the rotor. The peripheral technology now makes something different. You have this sort of a channel around the movement on the same level, let's say, around the movement. And in this channel you have an annular segment made of tungsten, very heavy material, a segment that floats around or in this channel without, and here comes the trick, without direct connection or a mechanical fixed connection to the movement. In fact, this segment only touches a ball bearing, winds it, and therefore creates energy for the movement. And this is what I call high-end watchmaking, really, because you have some advantages from that construction. First, it allows to create very, very slender movements because you don't need that rotor on top. Secondly, it's very efficient. The third advantage is you cannot feel it so much. I mean, remember your old value 7750 when the entire room is shaking. I'm exaggerating a bit, but you can feel it, you can hear some Yoda movements, and with this peripheral technology, you cannot feel anything, you cannot hear anything. And the next advantage, perhaps most important, is that these movements just look so good. Because you have the The exquisite look of a well-made mechanical movement, hand-wound movement, because you cannot see the rotor, but with that automatic functionality, with this peripheral technology inside. And then the rest was very simple. They delivered the watch here to Bucherer, the jeweler in town. I picked it up, and then I could keep it for several days, could wear it, could test it. And this was, of course, a pleasure. But enough background information. Now let's go on the Lightbox. Let's check out that watch. And there we are with our watch, the Carl Friedrich Bucherer Manero Peripheral. Let's begin, as always, with the specifications. Here we have a case diameter of 40.6 millimeters, a length, a lug-to-lug, of 47.5. The height is indicated with 11.2. Lug width here is 20. And the watch is equipped with a sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating, normal crown, and therefore water resistance of 30 meters. And the caliber here inside is the CF A2050 with 33 joules. More of that later. Offers a power reserve of 55 hours and is COSC certified. So full-blown chronometer, very precise watch. And the price for this ensemble here is now 7,300 euros or 7,900 US dollars. Alright, and now let's begin with the dial. There are several options out there, several colors, and I opted here for the salmon because I like the color, I like the contrast to the black subdial here, and I like the versatility when it comes to straps and metal bracelets, and I will show you this watch on the metal bracelet as well. But first we find a very conservative and very pure watch, unloomed with these sword type of hands with very high polished indices. And when you zoom in, then you really see perfection. You see a nice radial brushing, you see the very subtle logo, so very nice. And you see, of course, the very conservative and, in my eyes, classy combination of the subdial here on position 6. A bit accentuated by black, and you have a nice correspondence between the black subdial here and the black date wheel. Although this is certainly a matter of taste, and I can feel the comments. They say this should have a salmon colored date wheel with white numbers or with black numbers, but then it's not so legible. And so there are good arguments for a black date wheel, and there are good arguments for a brighter date wheel. But overall, a very classy, understated look with some extras like this black contrast here. And the nice thing of the brushing is, of course, that it changes. You can observe the watch from many angles and they all will look a bit different. And so this is, of course, very nice. Functionality is pretty straightforward. The movement allows hand winding, although it is an automatic movement. More of that later. Feels very, very creamy, very nice. And now you have two positions, like the usual functionality. This is position 2 now, because I'd like to set the hands or put them out of the way. This feels okay, but I've noticed that there's a big amount of play here. This is a bit of a downside. I'm not a watchmaker, and I'm sure that this is not a malfunction, because I have this with many watches that I feel this enormous play here, but often with cheaper watches. And so I was a bit surprised by that, because it makes it difficult to set the hands very precise to a certain time. And this is a bit of a downside. I don't understand that, to be honest. But the date is changing correctly at midnight. All good, very, very nice, very nice. And the quick set you can reach with position 1, and this works, feels good, very nice. So functionality is there, with a little surprise regarding that play. All right, or this tolerance here between crown and hands. And here you have the movement, and here you see the main attraction. This peripheral mechanism, that you don't have a real rotor, you only have that ring. There it is, there it is. See that? There you see the motion, which is very subtle. You really have to look closely to see that this is in fact an automatic watch. And even without that functionality, it's a very handsome movement. And a very characteristic or very characteristic main plates. This is one of these movements you see one time and then you can recognize it a year after that. Really easy to remember this movement, so very nice. Of course, sapphire see-through case back here. And so yeah, very happy with that movement, very happy with that look here, just beautiful. The case itself is not overly special. This is, yeah, solid industrial standard, very good polishing job. So high polished bezel, and here you have a fine brushing. And what I love here in this price segment is that all these details are close to perfection. There's nothing sharp and edgy or nothing too round. It's just a perfect polishing job, and this is just nice. And it's not only cosmetic, it will, yeah, handling the watch is just better with that finishing quality. Okay, now we have this rubber strap. This is, yeah, the normal strap for this watch. I like rubber straps, I must say. I find it here a bit fashion-esque, if this is a word, because this is a watch, a dress watch with 30-meter water resistance, and a rubber strap always gives the impression that you have a tough watch you can wear in a very humid climate, or you can wear in the rain or during the hot season when you're sweating. And this is the opposite here. I think this watch would be much better with a nice leather strap, but they kindly asked me to wear it with their straps. And you can imagine this together with a white shirt, you can imagine it with a blue shirt, all will go just nicely with that dial color. And so really, really cool and really nice case. And so I'm happy with the look, although it's a smidgen too big for me, obviously. But some other people would say, no, it's not too big for you, it's perfect. And here you see it on the bracelet, which you can buy together with a watch. So this is not a custom package here. This is the regular package. And you see this is very well made. You have very neat transition between the bracelet and watch. And so I'm personally very happy with that. And I like this type of clasp here because it's so small and so subtle. Okay, welcome back. I hope you've learned something like I did in this video. I hope you had some enjoyment checking out that watch. I certainly had my fun with it, and I'm super happy about that this collaboration turned out so well, and especially that it was so easy and professional and just nice to be in contact with Carl Friedrich Bucherer in Switzerland. So thank you very much, dear Carl Friedrich, for this opportunity to check out that great watch. All right, and that's it for this episode. Thank you very much for your attention, and until next time.